Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to the Get Set Goal, our youth MBA series that I'm teaching you here. Today, in the fifth lesson, I have something very interesting. Sometimes I go back and teach you stories, anecdote, incident. Today, I'll give you the flow. How do you make your goals? I'll give you the three P's at the end of the session. And hopefully, today would be the time where you can actually write down your goals. Remember, we already spoke about the importance of writing the goals down. So, well, let's go ahead. Today, perhaps it's a penalty time for you, and I'll give you some real good examples. In the circle of Get Set Goal that we are talking about, we've reached the second part, which is the second circle, which says understanding the importance of setting goals up. In today's session, I'll explain the psychology of goal setting. Well, how do you really set a goal? How do you go ahead in the goal setting process to make it fun? A quick recap of what we just did. Perhaps, if you can just see the overview, I spoke about some of my favorite stories. Yes, the name that I share, the Latinized version of David and Goliath. I spoke about this hero from Burundi, the one who started an entire Gazelle Foundation because Gilbert's passion was running. We did a fun exercise with the squares. And if you've not done that, please go ahead and do the square exercise. And yes, from Colonel Sanders to Lamborghinis and Google, we said one thing that you want. It could be the coffee at the Starbucks or the fried chicken. Well, we search for that one thing. What is your one thing? Today's session is appropriately perhaps called fishes. What is fishes? Where do you stand for when I talk about this word? By the way, fishes, is this really an English word? Let's talk about it. Let's know more about it. Let's understand where do we go. So that I would love to take you, and I'm sorry, I keep crossing my little figure out there, and then you understand that okay, you have to see me as well as you to hear me. This is the goal setting bubble. Write down your goals. How, as I said, this is a very practical session I want to talk to you today about. The bubble planner is where do you start writing goals down? Sometimes when I ask students, my even in corporate circles, I say, write down your goals, they're confused. Oh, well, I love my kids, but my career is important. I want to have a lot of space for the faith, especially if there's some special months going on or a festival coming down. But what about my own health? I mean, people don't, they are not able to balance between the goals and they don't know where to set the goal in. I'll give you a very, very simple planner how I set goals. So when I sit down, I make a list of everything. Sometimes I'm very preposterous or I'm very overtly pragmatic. Well, don't worry about the P words. Sometimes I'm overly dreaming or overly practical. But I don't censor myself. I don't criticize. I don't edit. I write down every single goal that I think of. It could be landing on moon or becoming the president of the United States. For all that matter, write it down. Then I make a second list. And the second list is more fun. Second list is things I really enjoy doing. Things that gives me joy, the kind of happiness, the glow factor that I get. And trust me, where do you know? Well, you can know from the sports you play, the movies you watch, the magazines and the book you open up, the people you like to talk to. And then when your two lists are down, perhaps the list could look anything like this. Well, you are making a huge area in what you are doing and what you like to do. So, call someone I love. I want to talk to somebody for hours and hours. Oh, well, I just want to sleep for hours. Read the newspaper, read the research paper, write something, blog, journal. I just want to have fun. I want to eat or eat with a friend. Oh, I love shopping, buy fresh fruits. I want to meditate. I want to be mentored. I want to visit nature, pack a lunch, drink a lot of water, make myself strong, six abs, pray a lot, get up in the middle of the night, be good with my mom, make relationship with my father, clean my room, whatever. Set down, write it down, write it down. But now your list will get pruned with fishes. What is fishes? Which is what I'm going to explain to you. Fishes is a goal that is like a hook. You have those little baits out there. Well, my goal needs a bait, and the bait I call is fishes. Before I go in, today I'm also going to do a little bit of English language with you. It's fun, right? I said I'm going to make a lighter session because there's a lot of talking and conversation. There may be no stories today. So why not I teach you something basic English? Well, a lot of my English teacher will say, what Dawood, are you teaching a wrong English? Fishes? So let me start with you. If there is one goose, what would the plural of goose be? Yes? What would it be? Yes, two geese. So this one is moose. One moose, two. You said meese, right? Didn't you? I got you. It is still two moose. Now this is where English becomes interesting. I don't know what the logic would be, but goose is geese and moose is just moose. Let's do a little more fun. So one octopus. Now you're thinking, is it a trick? Is it a googly? Two octopuses, right? One sheep and two. Well, absolutely. Anybody gets it wrong, you're penalized. It's always the sheep. There is never sheeps, right? One ox. This is a different one, right? The language follows a very different pattern. Two oxen. All right. So this is just a little bit of English. I thought you'll have fun. You can play along with you and you can impress people around. Let me go back. So there is no plural for fish. The group of fish is called a school, by the way. Yes, and I'm associated with school. It's still one fish, two fish, right? So let's visit the aquarium. Let's understand what fishes can do. But I'm changing a little bit of language. It's my goal setting workshop, and I'm your mentor, so I can do anything I want, right? So fishes is an acronym for F for family, I for intellect or intellectual, S for social, then H for health or fitness, E for economics or money, and S for spiritual. So you get to FISHES. When you decide to club all your goals, perhaps somewhere we forgot what would our priorities be. So these are my 6 areas. Fishes is 6 areas you set your goal on. Really, it might be the less about in terms of anecdotes and stories and jokes, but trust me, this is the most important of your goal setting session. Capture your goals. If you can't read, I'll read it for you. For each category, write down one. So remember all that you told me. For example, your goal was very simple. The fact that I just want to drink a lot of water. Maybe you are, dehydrated a lot. So this is a health goal. It is an H. One of your goal could be, oh, I want to read a lot. I'm interested, but reading is not my forte. That's an intellectual goal. So read 2 books a month. That's an intellectual goal. Oh, I want to be part of the community work that is happening. Maybe feeding the dogs out there on the stray work. So that's a social goal. I also want to spend a lot of time with my younger brothers and sisters. I think I'm losing out on that relationship. That's a family goal. I want to make sure that my savings are good enough to buy the new skates that I always wanted to buy, the lovely shoes that I had in mind, economic goal. And I want to make sure I'm there on my Fajr. I want to make sure that my Quran is done. I want to make sure I meditate every day. It's a spiritual goal. So, moment you did the first exercise, the list of things you want to do and the list of things you enjoy doing, now you categorize them. This is the first step to capture your goals. And trust me, when you know what your goal is, you become the real fishes hero that I'm talking about. Well, if you know the right fishes, you can catch them well, you can hold them, you can take a bite out of it. Remember, write down these words FISHES in very bright, bold letters, and this would be the start of your goal setting journey. So, let me give an example. Let's say, using the example of that, one of my health goal was to learn cycling. Now, the best way to improve on your goals, to act on your goal, is to do the 3 P's. I'm doing a lot of P, right? Pragmatic. I did a lot of exercises, the words with P. So the first 3 of the P is make it personal. I want to learn cycling. Now I tell myself that I cycle every day. I am telling that to myself. I am reminding myself I am cycling. Positive. Cycling is fun, it's joy. Imagine yourself cycling with winds on your face, and maybe your earpods are out, but you're enjoying. You're not watching your mobile, you're not on social media. Perhaps it's a good podcast, another P, but that's something you want to do, and that is a positive intent. And be present as if you've already accomplished your goal, as if you've done your goal. You are cycling, you are there, and you use a language which is very personal, very positive, and very, very present. And I add one more P, which is to make it very, very purposeful. This is a great example. Change your goal from extrinsic, which is where others are telling you to do the goal, to intrinsic. Say studies. Maybe you are forcing yourself because your parents have an expectation. How about changing it that your expectations are very high? Smoking. I never ever advocated smoking. I hate it, but people do end up spoiling their lives to ashes. But imagine there are two kind of friends. Someone comes and offers you a cigarette. The first one in red is an extrinsic one where you say, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. Let's say a smoker comes and says, I'm trying to quit, which is a goal which is not positive or present. But the other one says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. I'm not he's trying to quit the same time. He also is going through de-addiction symptoms, but he says, no, I'm not a smoker. The moment you say that, you change your entire perspective. Right? So this is what I have for you. Of course, there's step 2, 3, 4 also that I'm going to teach you, but these are some very, very key things. So far, what I taught you is very interesting. Select the goals I've already decided and put a future reality worksheet. So put down the goals. What about the goal? When are you going to start? Why are you using that goal? How are you going to accomplish? What are your impediments? Why not? And who all can help you? Let's say your goal was as simple as getting up early in the morning, say for Salatul Fajr, for school, for exercise, for cycling. Who could be accomplished? Maybe your mom, maybe an alarm clock, maybe a friend who is a buddy, Fajr buddy. And that is very important. So, three goals that you take up and you write down what your goals are and you tell them, okay, let me achieve these goals. And hopefully, in the subsequent sessions that I'm going to take, I'm going to teach you each goal in each category. So all the fishes category, we've got 6 categories, and each one I'll be teaching you how the 6 categories will go through. Step 3, well completed. That's it. Break the goal down to a manageable project. You cycle every day, right? Give the starting time. Why should you cycle? Oh, my cycle. Oh, by the way, I've not bought the cycle. That's a very funny answer, right? But your cycling goal does not happen. Go ahead, take a Yulu cycle, take a cycle and rent, borrow a cycle. If that is your economic goal, save enough to buy your best cycle, but doesn't matter. I think there are very few people who are reluctant to share their cycles. It could be a car that people are reluctant with. You can always take a cycle and rent if you're very, very sure about it. And the last one is step 4, make a smart goal. Of course, I will teach you this enough workshops and YouTube videos on what smart goals are. I'll do also my way of doing a smart goal in an interesting way. Smart is basically specific. Like cycling was a very specific goal, but measurable. Well, are you cycling on a weekly basis? Maybe 4 times a week. You are measuring it. That's important. Action oriented. Yes. What am I doing every day? Is it realistic? Well, you're doing cycle. You're not trying to do a hovercraft. So it is realistic and time bound. So give yourself a weekly goal, then break it down to a daily goal. Then you have a larger goal. Remember the short term, long term. Maybe, I don't know, if you want to participate in Tour de France, then that's great. But the idea is your goals, own your goals, and you'll be successful. So that's all I have, your mindset coach Dawood Wade on the Get Set Goal session. I'm not leaving you without some fun exercise. So today, let me teach you a little more about the fishes part, some English lessons. Here comes your way. Oh, I almost gave you the first answer. But anyway, what's a group of owl called? Well, owl, by the way, very interesting. This is some of the best I've heard. A group of owl is called parliament. So next time you see a ruckus in parliament, you know who are sitting out there. What's a group of rhino called in the same sense? Right? So you know now what's a group of rhino called? Well, interesting. It's clash, a crash of rhinos. Oh my goodness. This is somebody's really thought of these words. Let me give you 4 more before I end up with what's a group of sardines called? Because we talk a lot of fish. So what's a group of sardines called? Well, yes. I know you can Google and let me know. A family of sardines and elks. Those moose-like big animal. They are like some gang out there. Yes, the gangs of Wasipur, the gangs of elk out there. Interesting, isn't it? What about a group of iguanas? Do you see they're messy out there, all of them cluttered together? That's the right answer. A mess of iguana. And if they sleep, you will know why they call mess. And a group of walruses, by the way, they're hurdling together like some footballers on a rugby field. So a hurdle of walruses. Trust me, a group of dolphins is called a pod. And I told you a group of, well, yes, our fishes are a school, and that's a schooling lesson I have for you. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something. As much as I have fun preparing these sessions, I'll come back again with the next session. Keep telling me, keep pinging me. I'm always available on WhatsApp or an email, dawood@skyeducation.in. Ping me if you're part of Youth MBA. You know my WhatsApp number. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and hopefully the penalty is all yours.